Today I'm excited to give you my spoiler-free review for the new anime Suzume. The English dubbed version hits theaters in the US on April 14th and then continues on to Crunchyroll. I was lucky enough to attend the world premiere, and I was actually placed on the press line where I got to interview a lot of the voiceover cast. Now, when I spoke to each of them, pretty much all of them were like, if you don't cry during this movie, you have no soul. And it didn't take long for me to figure out exactly what they were talking about. By the end of this film, I was a mess. Now, you guys, if you've been around for a while, you know I cry at a lot of things. I'm a very emotional person, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. But this film really, really got to me at times, especially as a parent, okay? So this film follows young Suzume. She's a high schooler. She's just kind of living her life. She lives with her aunt because her mother has passed on. Her father was never a part of her life. And so, you know, her aunts basically become her mother. And she one day meets this very handsome stranger who's way too old for her. That's the mom coming out in me. And she ends up going on this journey with him. It's very weird and bizarre what happens. There's like this adorable cat that I don't want to talk too much about for fear of spoilers, but it is so cute. And the way it says Suzume, or I can't even really do it, but I can't do it. It's adorable and so cute. And like, I need all the plushes of that cat. I want to take it home with me. It is so cute. But moving on from the cat, which is so cute, they find doors, right? His job is being a closer. He finds these doors that lead to the ever after, and there's certain evil thing trying to like come through the doors, and he has to close them. Things get crazy, and he turns into a chair, which is weird, but it totally works. So of course he needs Suzume's help. And it becomes this kind of fun road trip story. It's an adventure. Everywhere she goes, she meets new people. She makes human connections. Of course, her aunt's at home worried sick. Again, as a parent, I feel it. Like, that's what really, really got me into this movie. But she's going on this adventure with her chair, Sota. And, you know, she has to make these human connections. And so that is what a lot of this film is about, honestly, is like helping out other human beings. And everywhere these doors are, where these like holes, world, whatever you would call them, into this other world, the ever after, I guess you would call it an opening, right, with the door. There is like devastation, I guess is maybe the right word. They've all happened in ruins, okay? They're all in places that were once bustling and filled with humans, and natural disasters and things like that have killed the people that were there, and just absolutely, like, you know, they talk about like tsunamis and stuff, and it's kind of devastating and emotional. And that's where a lot of the emotion comes from, the raw emotion. So these are just like the moments where it's all surrounded by devastation, right? I think that's probably the best word for it. But that feels real because, like, we have that in the real world, right? There are natural disasters in the real world. So those parts really got to me as well. It's like the parenting moments. You go and like, the only way to close these doors, okay? And this isn't a spoiler because it happens super early on. But the only way to close these doors and to keep them closed from this evil that's trying to cross over is to honor the people who have passed. Think about their happy times. Think about the people who had lived there before this disaster hit. Think about, you know, their day-to-day and them just being happy, genuine people. And it's really sad and really devastating. Some of the scenes are like, because they flash back and show the people when they were there before they died. And it's like, it's a lot. It's like a lot. And then the emotions are raised a millionfold. There's so many things. I don't want to give you spoilers, but there's so many moments that come about, and you're just like, you just like keep getting hit in the gut, keep getting hit in the heart. It's very, very emotional story, especially as you start to really learn about Suzume's mother and what happened there. And then, of course, you have her aunt who's trying to be her mother now, and there's this conflict that just happens with like a mother or guardian and their teenager, right? There's so many reasons they don't get along. They push each other, and so you get that. And then, like I said, you get this adorable cat that just joins the journey, who's a little bit like scary at times. Like, I'm not gonna lie, some of the faces and things that the cat says, you're like, oh, okay. Like, it kind of reminds me, if you guys have seen Super Mario movie, kind of reminds me of like Luma Lee in Super Mario. One of those like steal all the scenes because of that. But This movie is also just absolutely gorgeous, which should be no surprise. Absolutely beautiful. The anime is great. It's just, it's so immersive and so emotional that, like, it's 2 hours long, and there are some times where it feels like it drags a little bit, but I think the road trip aspect of it helps to move that along, because Suzume's going from town to town and she's meeting new people. I could have done with like one less. I love her human connections, don't get me wrong. I absolutely do. I love like Chica, who's voiced by the English version is voiced by Rosalie, who was May in Turning Red. I absolutely adore her. Like, she's fun and cute, but it's like Suzume goes to this new place, she meets these people, and then she's like, oh, I'll see you at some point in my life. You know, they're like, stay in touch, blah, blah, blah. And then she, like, cuts them off and moves along, basically, right? She doesn't, like, cut them off. She's probably going to go visit them again at some point in her life. But you're just like, okay, there was, like, one section, and then it moves to the next, which, well, it helps to move it along. It does also, sometimes you're like, okay, well, I saw that person, and I really like that person, and now I'm not going to see them again. So that was a little bit of a fumble at times. And then again, I could have done with, well, I love all the stories, don't get me wrong, I could have done with like out one of them, maybe brought it down to like an hour 40, because the 2 hours, it does feel like 2 hours. That said, it is an emotional journey. It is intense. There are moments that are going to hit pretty much everyone right in the hearts. People are going to be able to relate to this in one way or another. But then there's some amazing action, especially shoved in at the, it's sprinkled throughout, don't get me wrong. But really, in the third act, you get this big climactic action and emotional moment. And I think the ending is going to be a little bit divisive for some people. So, like, some people are going to really like it. Some people are going to be like, wait, what? Because it is a little bit confusing. I know I'm being so vague here, but I don't want to ruin it with spoilers. I personally loved the ending. I didn't see it coming, and it really hit me. And that's where I started to sob, and I'm starting to tear up now just thinking about it. That part really, really hit for me. But I do think some people, based on people that I talked to after the premiere, are going to be like, what was happening? How does that work? And some other people might just hate it in general. They might have been waiting for a certain thing to happen, which is what you think is going to happen. And when it doesn't, they just might not appreciate that, because that's the thing they've been wanting to happen the whole time. Could be better upon a rewatch when they're not, you know, really invested in a certain thing happening. Again, vague. I know. For me, the ending really worked and solidified and pulled the whole thing together for me. They did sprinkle some hints earlier on, and then it hit and it clicked, and I was like, yes, okay. And again, the freaking cat is so darn cute. And Suzume, like, I really enjoy her spunkiness, and she's fun, and Soda is great too, and like the whole chair thing is funny. There's moments where you're gonna laugh, there's moments where you're gonna cry, and I think overall you're gonna be pretty completely invested, especially if you're an anime buff. You're gonna love this one, so I hope you check it out. Now listen, I give Suzume a 4 out of 5. I went back and forth, maybe a 4.5, but it did feel a little too long for me, and I had a couple of other issues with it, like I said. But I think a 4 out of 5 is really, and I highly recommend it. I think you should see it on the big screen if you can. So check it out when it hits theaters next week. If by the time you get to this review, you've already seen Suzume, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. Did you like the ending or no? I really think some people are not going to like it. I loved it. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And check me out at MamasGeeky.com. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to all my monetary supporters, my members, and my Patreons. Love you guys.